Welcome back. The details. During his participation in the climate session of 58th Munich Security Conference in Germany, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that by hosting the 27th session of the conference of the parties COP27, Egypt endeavors to continue cooperation with all world countries to face climate changes. Shoukry also pointed to the necessity of maintaining the target of decreasing the Earth's temperature 1.5 degrees. Egypt's top diplomat held a number of meetings on the sidelines of the gathering.
A quadripartite meeting for foreign ministers of Egypt, Jordan, France and Germany was held on Saturday to exchange views on the Middle East peace process and its latest developments. The meeting was held on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference, according to the Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Councillor Ahmed Hafez. The ministers continued consultations on efforts aimed at reviving peace and reaching a comprehensive and just settlement for the Palestinian-Israeli cause. At the end of the meeting, the four ministers announced a group of recommendations as follows. We emphasize our commitment to support all efforts to achieve a just, lasting and comprehensive peace that fulfills the legitimate rights of all parties on the basis of the two-state solution in accordance with international law, relevant United Nations resolutions and agreed parameters, including the Arab Peace Initiative. 2. We see with concern increasing tensions on the ground. Against this backdrop, we recall the urgency of the resumption of serious, meaningful and effective talks and negotiations directly between the parties or under a UN umbrella, including under the Middle East Quartet. 3. In the absence of negotiations, we underline the importance of creating political and economic horizons. In that regard, we would like to see further mutual confidence-building measures based on reciprocal commitments with a view to improving living conditions for the Palestinian people and restoring meaningful negotiations. 4. We stress the need to refrain from all unilateral measures that undermine the two-state solution and the prospects of a just and lasting peace, in particular the building and expansion of illegal settlements. We recall the importance of upholding the historic and legal status quo of the holy sites in Jerusalem or Al-Quds. In this regard, we recall the importance of the historic Hashemite custodianship of Jerusalem's holy sites. 6. We affirm the indispensable role of the UNRWA and the need to provide it with the political and financial support it needs to continue to fulfill its UN mandate and provide its vital services to refugees. 7. We emphasize the importance of all peace treaties between Arab states and Israel contributing to resolution of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict on the basis of two-state solution. 8. We will continue to work with all parties to create realistic horizons for the resumption of a credible political process. We stress that the attainment of a just and lasting peace is a strategic objective that is in the interest of all parties and key to regional security and stability.
Meanwhile, Minister Shoukry, also the COP27 president-designate, held a cordial conversation with U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate Change, John Kerry, on Saturday during attending the session on international climate diplomacy, according to Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Councillor Ahmed Hafez. Hafez added that Shoukry met with Friedrich Merz, the leader of the Christian Democratic Union of Germany, CDU, tackling bilateral relations and regional issues of mutual interest. Shoukry headed on Friday to Germany to participate in the Munich Security Conference, which is being held from the February 18th to the 20th, with the participation of many senior officials, ministers, heads of international organizations, and thought leaders to discuss the current international situation and the main challenges and crises on the international scene. The Arab Parliament held its fourth conference on Saturday at the Arab League headquarters. The conference was attended by speakers of the Arab parliaments and councils, as well as their high-ranking accompanying delegations. The conference tackled the document of the Arab Parliament, which is to be ratified in the next Arab League summit. Nile TV's Minna Dessouki was there and filed this report.
The Arab Parliament held its fourth conference of the Arab Parliaments and the Arab Council's heads in the presence of His Excellency Ahmed Abul Ghaid, the Arab League Secretary General, His Excellency Adel ibn Abdurrahman al-Usumi, the Arab Parliament Speaker, His Excellency Hanafi Gebeli, the head of the House of Representatives, and a number of Egyptian and Arab officials. Addressing the conference opening, the Arab Parliament Speaker, Adel ibn Abdurrahman al-Ausumi, said the Palestinian cause is stalled due to Israeli stubbornness and called on the international community to bear responsibility towards legitimate rights of the Palestinians. Al-Ausumi stressed on combating terrorism, extreme thoughts that takes place all over the world, and called for human rights through dialogue and moderate thinking. And he said there should be a stance to be taken to evade intervention in any Arab country. Under the title Parliamentary Vision for Achieving Security, Stability and Advancing the Current Arab Reality, the Arab Parliament held this important conference in its 4th edition to strengthen the Arab joint cooperation. On the other hand, His Excellency Ahmed Abul Gheit hailed the pivotal role of the Arab Parliament, saying it reflects the voice of the Arabs. He reasserted to confront the intervention in the Arab countries, and the Arab Parliament is keen on this issue to send a message to the organizations who interfere in their internal affairs. Awards were presented for best Arab projects in the sustainable development field. Great efforts are exerted by the Arab Parliament as well as the Arab diplomats in facing the challenges and solving the problems of the Arab countries. From the headquarters of the Arab League, Minna Dessouin, TV International.
And the Arab Parliament ended its 4th conference. Arab Parliament Speaker Adel al-Ausumi held a press conference in which he detailed the elements included into the document prepared to be raised for the Arab leaders in the next summit to be ratified. Al-Ausumi said the document included all files related to the Arab scene. On top of the list is the Palestinian cause, as well as the crises in Syria, Yemen, Libya, Sudan, Somalia, and Lebanon. The document also tackled ways to fight terrorism and extremism, as well as facing the external intervention in the Arab states' internal affairs, in addition to preserving Arab national security and boosting human rights. Al-Ausumi stressed that the document highlighted the importance of empowering women and youth, developing education, as well as the Arab Parliament's role in boosting inter-religions dialogue and enhancing technology investment. The Arab Parliament Speaker pointed to the necessity of putting an Arab comprehensive strategy to face the dangerous Iranian interventions which support terrorism in different Arab states.